Welcome back to the Global Builder's Guide, episode 9. I'm Igneous, and today we're talking about menus. More important than you might think, and that's because we're used to computers that are a hell of a lot more user-friendly than they were a certain number of years ago. For those of you who have been around long enough to remember MS-DOS, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and other options that are similar. I released a snapshot of the scripts that we're working with up to a certain point of like a week or two, probably 2 ago, 3 maybe. And the one thing that was missing that I would have liked to have had in that is a more robust menu system so that people who want to do more than just look at the scripts could try them out and have a more intuitive sort of experience with them. So given where we're going and where we're at this point in the project, I thought it was a good time to focus on the menu system so that we have access to all the information that we need, all the commands that we need from the central computer, and we can start testing things from the point of view of an end user instead of someone who's writing this script that just runs everything from the command line, and that's good enough. So to get us started today, I decided to set up a brief demonstration. For that brief demonstration in the Jello Forest, we have to go up to the GPS relay computer up here that has everything we need. You can see this is the test that I set up that we'll be looking at momentarily. But first of all, the most basic form of the menu, and the one that I've been using up until now, is the command line, where you specify the script that you want to run, you press enter, and it runs. And that's all. It does its thing. It continues to do its thing until it runs out of things to do, or until you press Control-T, and you get the terminated message, the script stops. Now you're back at command line. You can enter another script to run if that's what you want to do. So really straightforward menu system, but not very user-friendly. And that's what I wanted to get away from, because this is what I've been using up until now. Now, if you're just starting out with scripting, learning how to program, whatever, you're going to end up with menus that quite often look a lot like... I had it right. This, which is a very straightforward, very functional menu. What would you like to be today? 1, awesome. 2, a bran muffin. 3, Batman. And then you're prompted as a user to enter your choice and reminded of what your options are, 1 to 3. So in this case, if we press 1 and enter, hooray, you are awesome. Just like that, the magic of programming, we've made you awesome. Or maybe you'd rather be a bran muffin. Hooray, you're a bran muffin. If you're like everyone else in the world and you want to be Batman, there can only be one Batman, sorry. Well, ain't that a bitch. That's the menu, and of course, if you take computer science, one of the first terms you'll be introduced to is bulletproofing. And that means if someone enters something that is outside the scope of what you want to receive for input, it will handle it properly. In this case, it reminds the user that they must enter, they must select from the given options, and then it gives them back the menu so that they can try again. The idea is you never want to put the user in a position where they can enter something that causes the program to crash because the program doesn't know what to do with it. That's the whole idea of bulletproofing, and we've got a basic level of that in place here. If I were given this menu to work with and told that I could change one thing without overhauling the entire menu, I would make it so that you don't have to press enter after you enter a particular choice. So you've got 2 and it's sitting there waiting for you to press enter. I would change it so that you press 2 and it pretends like it automatically pressed enter. We'll just call it that for now. And of course, you can do that very easily with Lua and most scripting or programming languages for that matter, but it just gives you an idea when we're looking at this saying, okay, well, we've got these different choices we're giving you. You should be able to get away with just pressing one key and having it execute that choice. But we've got a pressing enter. It's kind of like the restaurant analogy. You go to a restaurant, your server hands you a glass, says there's the soda machine, help yourself, as opposed to saying, what kind of soda would you like? And then they go and they fill up the glass for you and bring it to your table. That's sort of the difference between one key entry and one key with enter. We've got a choice as a programmer to provide the user with something that's a little bit easier, not because they're lazy or stupid, but because we can, to improve their experience. So that's one change that I would make, and obviously in this case when we're looking at the kind of project we're doing, even that isn't going to save us. We need to look at things from the point of view of the project that we're working on, which specifically kind of fits with my view of the game, and that, bigger is almost always better. If you've seen some of my previous series, things like the Mega Creeper and the Mega Turtle, which never actually got finished because of what I did to the world with the Mega Creeper. Planning things on a big scale. And what I've learned over time, especially when it comes to gaming, is if you apply arbitrary maximums to anything, your users will find what those maximums are and they will resent them. So if I were to say, for example, I'm designing this menu, and it really only makes sense to me if I say you can only have 10 items in a menu, so you can only have 10 turtles, you can only have 10 GPS relay computers, you can only have 10 of these different things, you're going to find that guy who hits his maximum, he's got his 10 turtles, he wants another one, it won't register and tell them you can't because it won't fit in the menu. You're not going to like that. And they're probably going to tell you exactly what you need to do with your code to fix it. So rather than putting myself in that position, I decided to incorporate the dynamic sort of menu scaling that will allow us to do whatever we want. If we want to have 30 turtles building the Taj Mahal, it won't be our menu system that prevents us from doing that. So let's go take a look at the central computer and see exactly what I mean. Now, the only arbitrary maximum that I've applied has more to do with an existing maximum. There's only so many lines in the terminal, right? This is the terminal view as opposed to the monitor view, the big thing above us. So I've got a variable that you'll be able to change through a menu selection that places a limit on how many menu items you can see on screen at one time. It doesn't limit how many menu items you can have, just how many are visible. So if you don't really care about the console log, that bottom 2/3 of the screen right now, you can shrink that so it's only like one line if that's what you want, and have the rest displaying menu items so that you can see more on the screen at once. That's what I mean by there's a maximum defined within the game that we have to work with, but we don't use that as an excuse to limit what we're offering. So you can see here we've got the main menu declared in the header. We've got 3 options that we can select with the spinny pointer thing. And we've got the footer that's telling the user they can use up, down, or WS to select, enter, or D to confirm. You can also use the right arrow to confirm. And then below that is the console log showing all of the output that I have. In this case, it's all debug stuff. You don't have to worry about what's going on there. It won't be in the finished product. It's just for me to make sure that everything is working the way it's supposed to. But what happens if we've got a menu that has more than 3 items in it? Are we kind of screwed, or what exactly is going on? Now, to give you an example, we can go to the help index, where it changes. You can see the header is now help category, central PC, turtles, GPS relay PCs. And then it's giving you another left or A for previous menu so that it tells you how to back out of this menu. But if you scroll down, you can see we've got a 4th option that appears by scrolling. And we can scroll back up to the top one. So you can see I could add a 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 100th option. And you can scroll up and down through the entire menu to get to it. That's sort of what I wanted, was to be able to have this system where it doesn't matter how much screen space you have or how many things you want to be able to choose from, you'll be able to do it with this menu system without any kind of a headache. Now, the one thing that I want to add is an indicator that shows you that if you continue to scroll down, you'll get more options, or if you continue to scroll up, you'll get more options. So the only downside is that Computercraft right now doesn't support the ASCII extended characters, so you can't always get intuitive like arrows or anything like that pointing to stuff, but we'll make do. It's not a big deal. Just for the user point of view, to have some sort of indication that there are more options that you can't see, we'll be able to scroll through them. So that's basically the heart of what I've been working on. Now, the menu options that are currently available, see, it crashed. Why do you crash so cruelly? The menu options that are currently available aren't set in stone. I'll probably be changing them, shuffling them around, whatever. I just wanted to get them into a point where I can start testing to make sure the menu itself works as it's supposed to. You can see here, this is probably the only one that'll give us a dynamic list. So if we go to load GCT file, it shows us the GCT files that are available to load. This is a dynamic list. If there were 20 GCT files in this directory, we would be able to see them and scroll through all of them and select them, which currently, if you select it, all it's really telling me now in the console log is it's giving me information saying this is the item that you just selected, but I don't have any instructions on what to do with it yet, so it's not doing anything. We can back out. I would like to know why it crashed on that last one. Let's find out. Let's see if we can find out. GCT files, no, that's not it. Help index, central PC, turtles, help index, turtles. It's not even gonna, see, it's one of those freakish crashes that I have to kind of sit here and play around with for hours until I find out what it is. It's not a thing. Like I say, this isn't done. It's just the basics are in place so that I can illustrate for you exactly what I've been doing for the last week or so. And then the next episode will probably have more refined, a little bit better looking, a little bit more functional. And the next two goals that I have with this menu system are I want to be able to tell a turtle of my choosing that's registered with the central computer to relocate to specific coordinates and obviously have it do so. And also to be able to say to that turtle, here's some information, I want you to start building this. Those are the next goals for the menu system, and also just get everything sorted out between the central computer and the turtles. If we can do that, then we're on our way to something that we can actually start to release as a workable project, and then just keep adding to it with cool things above and beyond what is already cool. So by all means, I mean, we're done. We're done. There's only so much I can say about menus before you're like, I don't care anymore. So we're gonna call it there. Leave your comments and feedback below. Let me know what you're thinking. The script with the menus will definitely be up with the next snapshot. So if you're wondering how to make these dynamic menus, you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to look at the scripts when I post them, and I'll actually make a point of sort of highlighting within the script exactly where to look for how that's working. So comments and feedback, very important. Let me know. In the meantime, thanks for watching, guys, and take care.